Hey guys, Sean here, and today we are going to be looking at my top 10 favorite weapons from Halo 5 Guardians. There are a lot of weapons that were introduced in Halo 5 Guardians, some old, some new, and over the span of maybe 4 or 5 years, there were plenty introduced, and I really enjoyed getting to use them in the new game mode variant of Warzone, obviously in Super Fiesta, Slayer, wherever you wanted to use them, or even in the campaign, even with how lackluster the campaign was, in my opinion. But I hope you enjoy this top 10 list. I'm going to provide an in detail explanation of why I chose every single weapon that I chose, and I hope you enjoy it. Coming in at our 10th spot, we have the Blood of Suban. This is a very similar scheme to the Blissful Slumber, and I used to not really be a big fan of carbines, and I was wondering, what do I really want to put on this list that I would actually use in a match at the beginning of trying to get kills and power up my Rex. And I was thinking either Blaze of Glory or Hailstorm or Whiplash, but I chose the Blood of Suban because it's precise, it super combines just like a Razor's Edge or a normal Needler or Talon of the Lost or Hailstorm. And you don't have to do headshots, it can be body shots. It's a faster rate of fire, and at just 4 Rex, it can be very useful in early game or mid game. It is not that useful against bosses, but still it can be implemented against Spartans, especially when you're trying to attack people that are coming from their base. So that's why I chose it at my number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, we have the Z390, is what they call it, Incineration Cannon. This is just the basic variant of the Incineration Cannon for Halo 5. The Incineration Cannon was introduced with the Prometheans in Halo 4 and was only a small magazine capacity, and it was like a one-shot reload type of ordeal. But they made this a percentage-based, like battery-charged Incineration Cannon in Halo 5. The reason this is so useful is because it kind of duels as a rocket launcher. Obviously, it may be a little bit different because you have to charge it up, which cannot be good in certain situations, but it has a low rec cost of 5 recs. It can be easily implemented into base clearing and destroying smaller bosses or even bigger bosses, depending on how you use it, especially against Covenant, where their shields are a bit weaker than the Prometheans. So I know that is kind of a weird pick, but I've used this a lot in Warzone. I've used it a lot in Super Fiesta, and it is always a powerful weapon because you can take on multiple Spartans at once with it if they are in a close enough proximity to each other. So that's why I chose it at my number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8, we have the Tartarus's Gavel. This hammer was used by the infamous brute Tartarus in Halo 2, but 343 decided to bring it into the Warzone scene as a gravity hammer weapon variation when the update was introduced with the hammers, with Griffball and things like that. It is a fan favorite in Halo 5 and is a fan favorite for a reason because of its base clearing capabilities. I know a lot of people put on a speed boost, an overshield, and a damage boost and spawn this at the beginning of every single game to try to back cap the armories or any base that the enemy is trying to capture as their first base, which can turn the tide of the game because it can allow you to get a triple cap and a quick kill. It is also very useful against bosses. It's, like I said, useful for base clearing, even during mid or late game. If you don't decide to use it early in the game, you can use it later on in the game to base clear and turn the tide of the game, to get more points for your team in your favor or your advantage. With the chain reaction, it's good to take on multiple Spartans at once, unlike the gravity hammer, which is usually a one Spartan type of ordeal. So it is very good. Obviously, it's a higher rec. The grinders, pretty good, but the reason that this is so good is because of its chain reaction, because it can kill multiple Spartans in a row with just one swing. It has 20 hits, unlike other gravity hammers, which have less hits, and it is faster of a swinging mechanism, and that is why I chose it as my number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7, we have the Ad Victorium. I know the previous pick was maybe controversial and should have been higher, but you may think that this one and number 6 are also controversial because you expect them to be higher. The Ad Victorium is notorious for being able to base clear and having the ability to kill Spartans from a long distance without really tracking with the red diamond function that is used in Halo 5. You're able to control 3 rockets that can be controlled up until it hits the ground or it hits the enemy or anything like that by just looking where you want it to go. And that's what makes it so powerful, along with its rocket spread. Like I said, it is used a lot for base clearing, especially in Warzone Turbo, by very good teams that know how to manipulate it in their favor. With such a low rec cost, even in normal Warzone, it is very good. It has a 6 magazine capacity, which makes it very useful to fire twice if you need to, if you miss. And it is very powerful, very explosive, just like a rocket launcher is, and I would argue it is probably the best variant for such the low rec cost of rocket launchers in the game. Maybe the Spanker Prime can overshadow it, or the Spanker X, because of the explosive power of the Spanker X after the fact, but I believe the Ad Victorium deserves its spot on my top 10 list. Coming in at number 6, this may be a controversial pick, but we have the Nornfang. I know a lot of people may say, but that should be number 1 because of how powerful it is. Yes, it is used in the campaign by Linda of Blue Team, and you can actually find it in the game on mission 7 or 8, I believe, or no, maybe mission 4. I don't know for sure. Oh, it's unconfirmed, mission 5, unconfirmed, where you can find it in the Pelican, but it does not have its signature damage boost. The reason the Nornfang is so good because it is used in late game at a point where there are a bunch of bigger weapons, bigger vehicles out, and you can use it from a distance to attack. It's a one-shot kill. You don't have to worry about headshots. It has a larger magazine than most snipers, with a 12 magazine clip plus the 4 you initially get. So if you use it properly, you can get 16 kills with it. This is the weapon I used when I got my Inconceivable in one of my previous videos. Using this with camo with no glare is especially useful when your teammates are trying to capture a base and you are staying behind and picking off all the people that are trying to go into that base and re-secure it. So I used this in Escape from Ark. I know it is very useful in Attack on Sanctum. It is good on Stormbreak. It is good on Noctis. I know a lot of YouTubers and players in general have gone to the top of the Monument in Battle of Noctis and have used this to their advantage, where not a lot of people can really get you unless they spawn an air vehicle or they spawn a sniper of their own to kill you. So that is why it is so good, but it is still overshadowed by a couple of other weapons that I deem more favorited by me. Coming in at number 5, we have the Whiplash. Now, this is one of the weapons I consider, along with the Answer and the Tartarus Gavel, to be a game-changing weapon if an opponent has it in Warzone, or if you have it in Warzone, because it's very easy to eliminate opposing players due to its speed. I know I will say this later, but speed is very important in Halo games, especially in Warzone when you're trying to outdo your opponent when they are shooting you, and this is a one-shot kill. The railgun has been very good since its introduction in Halo 4, and it was improved even more with the normal railgun being used in Slayer, and the Arclight, which was broken in Infection due to some interactions with the surroundings and causing glitches to appear. So the Whiplash's capability of speed and having a big magazine makes it very easy for you to use it and clear out bases and destroy enemies, destroy vehicles, especially smaller vehicles such as ghosts, warthogs, mongooses, and things of that nature. You can use the Spartan lasers and the other variants for the larger vehicles, but that's why it is so powerful, and for only 4 Rex, it is a very difficult weapon to face. Coming in at number 4, we have the Prophet's Bane. So the Prophet's Bane was introduced in Halo 5 as the main weapon of the Arbiter. The Energy Sword has obviously been a fan favorite due to its power, its lunging ability, and the ability for elites to use it as one of their favorite weapons to use since the old Halo games. And having camo as a perk of the Arbiter in the Halo 2 games was very important for a lot of players, especially speedrunners when you're playing on higher difficulties. So when we got this weapon in Halo 5, it was a game changer due to the fact that it had that camo ability. Now, the downside of the Prophet's Bane is that it is only good on 1v1 combat. Unfortunately, you can't really use it around a bunch of enemies because it's very easy to detect if you see your teammate go down. It's very easy to shoot the enemy and eliminate them without them getting a chance to go for cover, especially in open areas. So it's not good for base clearing unless there's maybe like one person there. But there are ways to use it effectively, and that is scrimmaging the outside of bases on one-on-one combats where the enemy doesn't anticipate you. So it's not a game changer, but it can be very dangerous, especially if you're spawning a powerful weapon just like these in the top 10 list and then get eliminated by one of these Prophet's Banes. Now they have the weapon that is so powerful to their disposal that you lost because you faced a person that had this weapon. Coming into our third spot is the in-game. So this starts my top 3 favorite weapons of all time in Halo 5. The in-game is so good because of how powerful it is, but also the speed. You're going to notice here very quickly in my top 3 that speed is very important, because if you don't have some talent, like I do sometimes, when it comes to fighting Spartans, you want speed to be your advantage. So this is very crucial here with the in-game. Spartan lasers are usually very slow. They have been slow ever since they've been introduced in the early Halo games. So this Rec variant is very good because it is so quick. It has a larger magazine capacity. Usually the Spartan laser only has 4 shots and easily avoidable by vehicles. And the in-game is so good because it is so quick, and also because it can be used so quickly against Spartans. Very easy to aim. You can use it with damage boost. You can use it with overshield. It's very dangerous with camo. People don't have enough time to react to the laser. Unlike the normal Spartan laser, Selene's Lance is very similar to this, but it has a slower rate of fire, smaller magazine capacity, but it has the perk of its heavier damage, and it can burn Spartans too and take off their shield when you're just priming the laser. So in-game is really good here, and that is why it is my number 3 spot, and that's why it beats out a bunch of these well-known and fan-favorite weapons. At number 2, we have the Answer. This is arguably the most game-changing weapon in Halo 5, especially in Warzone, where you can equip a damage boost on an already powerful weapon and absolutely obliterate anyone. You can obliterate vehicles, you can obliterate Spartans with overshields on, you can obliterate bosses with it. It's one of the few weapons I would consider game-changing. The trajectory of the match is in favor of the team that uses the Answer, along with the Whiplash and Tartarus Gavel. Those three, when it comes to base clearing, when it comes to boss destruction, when it comes to just getting points in general and kills, it is unbelievable. It is useful in every situation you put it in. Arguably the most powerful weapon in the game, depending on how you use it. You can use camo with it, but I know a lot of people use overshield and damage boost with it, especially in Warzone Turbo. But it is overshadowed by my personal favorite weapon. Maybe not the best in the game, but it is overshadowed by the weapon that I enjoyed the most when I played Halo 5. And at number 1 is the Typhon. The reason I like this weapon so much is because it is a 2-shot kill. It is very useful in multiple situations, especially when you're trying to clear out a base. Obviously, the tracking mechanism definitely helps from somewhat long distance kills, and the rate of fire is super quick. You can honestly shoot 2 bullets when it has the red diamond locked onto the Spartan, and then you can look away and it can still hit and kill him, which is useful, especially if you have to fight another person in your peripheral or someone close to you. It's good on maps such as Stormbreak, where there's a lot of open space. It's good on Sanctum. It's good on Noctis, good on Darkstar, very good on Arc. Apex is kind of tough because there's a lot of open areas, or not open areas, but like has a lot of like obstacles in the way, a lot of cliffs, a lot of trees, things like that. But that is the reason I enjoy it so much. It is only 5 Rex, which is a steal. It has an extended clip. And yeah, that's my favorite weapon, has been my favorite weapon for all of the years I've played Halo 5.